Good morning everyone. In our previous class, we learned about different operations on rows and column in which we studied about the selection and addition. Now in our today's class, our first operation is renaming a column. In this operation, first we are going to rename a single column by using the rename function. The syntax of this function is, first we have to write data frame object name df1 which we are using, then the membership operator, after that your function name which is rename. For renaming a column we are using a function rename. After that we are using columns over here, as we know that if we want to provide a column name or an index name separately, then we have to write columns, and for index label we are going to write index. Now after that you have to write in curly braces your old column name and your new column name. In this data frame I am changing attend to attendance. I was using earlier the column name as ATTEN. Now I want to change it to attendance. After running this command, you can see over here that the column name is changed to attendance. So this one is used to change a single column. Now if I want to change the multiple columns, then I have to change only this thing, that there's a need to put a comma over here, and you can use the further column name that you want to change. Here I am changing attend to attendance and sport to major. After running this command, you can see that major sport is changed to major. Here you can see that we are having a column name as a sport. Now we are having column name as major, and here we are having attendance. There's one other method to change the complete column names for the data frame. We have to use and create a list over there, but it is not in our syllabus, so we are not studying it. Now our next function is deletion. To delete a row and to delete a column. First I am deleting a column. For deleting a column I am having a function over here, that is drop. First you have to write the data frame name, then you have to write the drop function, after that the column name that you want to drop, then comma, and then the access is equal to 1. This argument, why we are writing this argument over here, I will tell you later on. Another second method is you can use delete keyword, del, your data frame name, then your column name. Okay, we are having first method which is using the drop function. After that we are having second method which is using the delete keyword, or you can say del keyword. Now we are going to delete a row in a data frame. For deleting a row we are having the same function drop. First you have to write the name of the data frame, then drop function, then data frame name dot index 5. Okay, it's upon you. If you want to write df1 dot index 5, you want to specify the column, or you can directly write 5 over here. You can directly write the index label over here. It can work also. So you can see over here we are not writing here access is equal to 0, and we are writing over access is equal to 1 because this argument specifies, or you can say it signifies, that you have to delete a column. By default it is expecting that you are deleting a row. If you are writing ATTN and then you are just closing the parenthesis, then it will take it as a row, which gives you the error. So while deleting a column, it's compulsory to write access is equal to 1, so that the function is specifies or signifies that you are deleting a column. Now moving on towards our next functions, head and tail functions. These are the very important functions in case of pandas library, and we have learned in the series also. The first one is our head function. What is the purpose of head function? It fetches the first n rows of a panda series or data frame. Okay, if we are not providing any value or any integer in this parenthesis or any argument to this function, then by default the number of rows that we can fetch is 5, and if I am providing any value over here, then it gives us those number of rows. As I am providing 3, so it is giving me the first 3 rows, 0, 1 and 2. Same case with the tail function. Tail is giving us fetching us the last 5 rows. By default, if we are not providing any integer, then it is last 5 rows, and if we are providing any integer, then it is those last number of rows. While you are creating the output or you're writing the output, keep this thing in your mind, the values of the index label does not get changed. If we are providing the last 5 rows, then it is taking the same index. Okay, the index will not get changed. Now moving on towards our next function, which is indexing using the labels. I think all of you know that what is a label. It is a row labels or the row indexing. First one, we are having the function which is .loc. We have already worked on this function. It's a location one. Okay, now if we are saying that we are having only square bracket, that means it is the index operators. What is this? These are the index operator. But if we are using it with the location function loc, then it becomes the indexer. Okay, the df.loc indexer selects data in a different way than just the indexing operator. It can select subset of rows or columns. It can also simultaneously select subsets or row and columns. This index operator can't select the subset of row and column, but this can select the subset of row and column based on labels. Next we are having another operator, that is iloc. Another operator is iloc, which is the index operator. Okay, for this we are using the index. This is based on the positioning one. In this we are using the index of a row, or you can say that index of the x-axis or the 0-axis. This function allows us to retrieve rows and columns by position only. Keep this thing in your mind. It is using labels and it is using position, that means the index. Okay, now next one we are going to study it further. In this I am using df1. Firstly the data frame. Here also I am writing the df1. Now I am using the loc operator loc and I am giving the index label. Okay, here I am giving the position, or you can say the index that from which we are storing the position. Okay, and after using the iloc, I means indexing or the positioning. In this loc, if we are having the label as a, we can provide it a over here also, but in this there is always a numeric argument. It is always a numeric argument. If we are providing a, then it will not accept it. It will give you an error, the type error. Okay, now at the third one we are having Manasvi. The student name was Manasvi, marks, and the sport is football, and we are having the attendance as 89. Same case on the first one, we are having Ayan, then marks as 80, tennis, and then 89. I think the difference between this is clear. In loc we are using the index labels or the indexing of the rows, whereas in iloc we are using the position of that row. After that, in the loc we can also use a multiple rows, 3 and 5. So we are having at 3 we are having Manasvi, at 5 we are having Krishna. It is for multiple rows. And same case with iloc, we have to provide the position of different rows. Here I am creating output for 0, 2 and 4 rows. You can see over here 0, 2 and 4. Okay, don't get confused with the labels because these are also the indexing in this example. Now next we are having location function. We are using subsets. We are creating a subset for multiple rows and multiple columns. Here I am giving 3, 4 as the index labels and student and sport as a column name. So I am getting 3, 4 rows and values of student and sport. In this I am only giving iloc, that is index, 2 and 3 that is the position of rows, and then the position of columns 0 and 2, because at first we are having marks. So here we are having 0 and 2. I think now it is clear to you. If we are using the loc operator or the loc function, then we have to provide the labels. Okay, and if we are using iloc, then we have to give the position. Same, just like here we are giving 0 and 2 instead of student and marks and sport. Here we are giving as a student and sport. So it is working on labels and this is working on positions or indexing. Okay, so first one was accessing a single row using labels or position. Next one was using the multiple rows. After that we are creating the subset of multiple rows and multiple columns. Now the next one you can check over here. By iloc we can take all the rows by slicing operator, and then we can take separate columns which we want to use. Here I am taking all the rows 0 1 2 3 4 5, and then I am taking only student and sports. Student is at position 0 and sport is at position 2. Now we are moving on towards our next topic, that is Boolean indexing. What is Boolean indexing? Basically it is a type of indexing which uses actual values of data in the data frame. Okay, in this we are accessing a data frame with Boolean index. So before accessing the data frame with the Boolean index, we have to create the data frame with the Boolean index. Here I am creating a data frame with nd array. Okay, I am taking the object nd array object as nd. I am using the function array from the library of numpy, and I am creating a 2D array having 0 1 and 2, 3 rows and 3 columns. Okay, so you can specify over here. We are seeing that I'm just passing this object here, then I'm giving the column names as A, B, C and giving indexes true, false, true. Why this is in green? Because these are already the predefined data types in Python. True means 1, false means 0. Okay, now I am using the loc operator or the indexer. Okay, first df2, which is the data frame name of my data frame, then loc, and then I'm giving the value as true. This is indexing using the label. If I want to use the iloc, then it will give us in type error, because as I described you earlier that iloc only takes the numeric argument, so it will not take true because it is a string, it is not a numeric argument. For this we are having another operator ix, but it is deprecated in pandas, so we are not using it. This operator uses both numeric argument and string argument. It is using both numeric and string argument, or you can say labels, but this operator is deprecated in pandas, so we are not using it. So children, in today's class we learned about first renaming a column and renaming a multiple columns. Then we learned about deletion, deleting a column by using a drop function, deleting a row by using the drop function also. After that we learned about the head and tail function. By default value of head is 5, and if you are providing an integer, then it will give that amount of rows. Next we understand the indexing using the labels. For indexing using the labels we are using the loc function, which is an indexer also. And if we are using the iloc, then it takes the value or takes the argument as the position. In loc function you can take the labels, which can be a number, which can be a float, which can be a string of any data type, but in iloc we are only having the numerical arguments. These are used to create the subsets of columns and rows. Next, or the last topic, we are having Boolean indexing. In Boolean indexing we are giving the indexing as Boolean values. Okay, so for fetching them we always use the loc operator or the loc indexer. Thank you children, this is our today class.